Have you ever just stopped and wondered, where does all of this actually come from? I don't mean in a myth or a story, but in a logical, almost scientific way. Well, today we're going to dig into one of humanity's oldest, most brilliant attempts to answer that very question, using pure reason. It's an ancient Indian philosophy called Sankhya, and it lays out what you might call a cosmic blueprint for reality itself.
I mean, it's the big question, isn't it? Where did all of this come from? Now, a lot of traditions will point you to a divine creator, and that's one way to look at it. But what's so wild about Sankhya is that it takes a totally different route. It's an agnostic system. It doesn't actually need a god for its explanation to hold up. Instead, it relies on something else entirely. Just cold, hard logic.
So Sankhya is one of the most ancient and, frankly, most influential of India's classical philosophies. It was founded by a sage named Kapila Muni. And just to give you an idea of how important this guy was, in the Bhagavad Gita, one of the most foundational texts in Hinduism, the deity Krishna actually says, "Of all the perfected beings, I am the sage Kapila." So yeah, this isn't some fringe idea we're talking about. This is the real deal.
Okay, so here's the absolute key that unlocks everything else in Sankhya. It's a principle called Satkaryavada, and it's built on a really simple but profound idea. You can't get something from nothing, right? Think about it. You can make a pot out of clay, but you can't make a pot out of thin air. Why? Because the potential of the pot is already inside the clay. So using that same logic, Sankhya says the entire universe must have already existed in a potential form inside its original cause.
All right, so that brings us to the next massive question. If the universe came from some kind of original stuff, what in the world is that stuff? Well, according to Sankhya, everything, and I mean absolutely everything you can imagine, boils down to just two fundamental realities.
On one hand, you have Prakriti. This is the raw, unconscious material of the universe. It's all matter, all energy, the whole shebang. It's active, it's dynamic, it's always changing. And then, on the other hand, you have Purusha. This is pure, unadulterated consciousness, the silent witness. It just watches. It observes everything, but it doesn't do a thing. You know, a great way to think about it is that Prakriti is the movie playing on the screen, and Purusha is the audience just watching it all unfold. Two totally separate things.
But we can go even deeper. So, if Prakriti is the raw material, what is it made of? What are its most fundamental building blocks? This is where things get really interesting.
Sankhya's answer is this amazing concept called the three gunas. Now, this is so important. The gunas aren't just qualities of matter, they are the matter itself. They're like these three fundamental cosmic forces, or strands, that weave together in different combos to create literally everything we see and experience. Every object, every thought, every feeling, it all comes down to the gunas.
So first up, we have sattva. Think of sattva as the energy of balance, of purity, of harmony. You know that feeling when you're just clear-headed, peaceful, focused? That's sattva. It's the quality of light, of illumination, of knowing.
Next is Rajas. This is the get up and go. It's the quality of energy, action, and constant movement. It's the force that drives change, passion, ambition, and yeah, sometimes restlessness and anxiety. Without Rajas, absolutely nothing would ever happen. It's the cosmic engine.
And finally, we've got tamas. Tamas is the quality of inertia, of stability, of form. Now, on the one hand, it's crucial. It's what makes a rock solid and gives things structure. But if you have too much of it, it leads to that feeling of lethargy, heaviness, confusion. It's the force that grounds things, but can also hold them back.
Probably the easiest way to wrap your head around this is to think of them like cosmic RGB. You know, red, green, and blue pixels on your phone screen. They can mix together to create every single color imaginable. Well, it's the same with the gunas. Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas blend together in infinite proportions to create every single color, form, and experience in the entire universe.
So we've got these three cosmic forces. But if they've always existed, then why hasn't the universe always existed? What was the trigger? Well, Sankhya's answer is that in the very beginning, before there was anything, these three gunas were in a state of perfect silent balance.
In this pre-creation state, Prakriti is completely dormant. The three gunas are perfectly canceling each other out. There's no action, no creation, no universe, just pure unmanifested potential waiting for a spark.
So what kicks it all off? What lights the fuse? Remember Purusha, our silent, conscious witness?
Well, Prakriti, since it's just unconscious matter, can't start the party by itself. It needs a catalyst. And that catalyst is Purusha. It's mere presence. It doesn't have to do anything. Just its presence acts like a kind of cosmic magnet that pulls on the gunas and disturbs their perfect equilibrium.
And bam, suddenly that perfect balance is shattered. The gunas start to churn and vibrate and interact, with one dominating the others for a moment, then another. This cosmic imbalance, this incredible dance of forces, is the very first moment of the universe's evolution.
Okay, so the balance is broken, the cosmic engine has been started. What happens next? Well, this initial disturbance kicks off a kind of chain reaction, this beautiful cascade of creation that builds the entire universe, step by step.
So first, out of this churn comes Mahat, which you can think of as cosmic intelligence or the universal intellect. From that arises Ahankara, which is the principle of ego or the sense of I amness. This then gives rise to the mind, to our senses like sight and hearing, our abilities to act like using our hands and feet, and then finally, all the way at the end, the physical elements that make up our world: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. It's this incredible cascade from the most subtle idea all the way down to the most concrete rock.
Okay, so that was all super grand and cosmic, creating the universe and all that. But here's where this whole idea gets really personal, and frankly, a little mind-blowing. Because according to Sankhya, these forces aren't just out there making galaxies. They're in here, making you.
That's right. The exact same gunas that build stars and planets are the very forces that are shaping your moods, your thoughts, and your actions every single second of every day. They are the literal building blocks of your own personal reality, both inside and out.
You know those days when you just feel calm, your mind is crystal clear, and you feel happy and at peace with the world? That's sattva really shining through in you. And what about those days when you're just buzzing with energy, super ambitious, maybe a little stressed out and anxious? That's rajas driving the bus. And then, well, then there are those days where you feel stuck, heavy, and you just cannot get off the couch. Yep, you've met Thomas. We are all just this constantly shifting dynamic cocktail of these three cosmic energies.
So just for a second, think about it. As you're sitting here, listening to this, which of these forces feels most active inside you right now? According to Sankhya, just being able to notice this inner weather, to recognize which guna is at play, well, that isn't just a cool intellectual exercise. It's actually the very first step toward finding a little more balance in your own personal universe.